My goodness, y'all. My goodness. I told you it was going to be interesting and entertaining when Alex Jones was cross-examined by the plaintiff's attorneys in his defamation case. And this did not disappoint. This did not disappoint even a little bit. So here he is, Alex Jones on the stand. I got 2 clips to go through with you. There's one that everybody's talking about, which is an astonishing clip. But really, there's endless moments. Honestly, we could go through the whole 3 hours and dissect it. But let's start with this one here. So Alex Jones has been intermittently in court for his civil case. He's not required by law to be there, but he's shown up, roughly half the time. And when he's not in the courtroom, he's been on his show. And one of the things he's been doing on his show is ripping the judge and also taking shots at the jury. That's really not a good strategy if you're trying to get off, bro. Really not. Okay, so let's dive into this here. Title of this video, this is from the Law and Crime YouTube channel. Alex Jones rips jury in InfoWars segment.
I don't know what you cut off or on.
Does it matter? Is there anything before and after that would make it great to show pictures of our judge on fire and telling the world she's involved in pedophile? Can you tell me the context that would occur before or after?
Okay. We're 14 seconds in and I have to pause it. He said on air, or one of his co-hosts or something, or like there was some InfoWars ad that ran on InfoWars that said the judge of the case is, she works with CPS, Child Protective Services, and Child Protective Services is like known to do pedophilia. So trying to imply, if not outright say, that the judge is involved in pedophilia. The judge in this case. And Alex, you could tell by his face here, he didn't realize they were going to go through his show that he did from this week and pull up the clips to show the jury, and now he's going to have to try to weasel out of those claims. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That makes sense. Sorry.
I believe you. If you're only wanting to go off 5 seconds, I believe the thing is, the judge is the fire burning Lady Liberty. It's not the judge. The judge is consuming freedom.
Can you agree with me, Mr. Jones, that I sure hope some of your viewers are able to...
There was, the picture they put up on the screen of the judge had fire behind her. Which, by the way, even the fact that you're showing pictures of the judge on your fucking channel...
Make that distinction that you just put on the hair, don't you?
All I know is
Your Honor.
is that I take this very serious.
Withdrawn, so stop.
Tell the jury you're taking this trial seriously. But you're telling the world that someone inside Travis County government rigged the jury summons and picked these jurors specifically who don't know what planet they are on. Correct? That's what you're telling the world.
I'm saying that could potentially be a danger if they don't know what's going on.
I think that's potentially, is what you're saying. Potentially. You didn't go on your show and say those words, is what you're going to tell me.
Can you show me?
I would be happy to. For
Please
the purposes of impeachment,
Can you show me? I'd be happy to. Inside Alex is like, fuck!
we would now offer a video from Mr. Jones' show on Friday saying those words.
Skip forward a little bit, because it takes a while to cue it up.
Object to impeachment on the collateral matter in 403.
That's Alex's attorney.
This time, let's go ahead and play that video for CX35.
Yeah, a lot of people are awake to the New World Order, but they're experts in leftist jurisdictions in sending out jury summons and hitting, let's just say this, extremely blue-collar folks. I mean, half that jury panel does not know who I am.
Okay, so did you notice what he did there? He attacked the jury because they're, quote, extremely blue-collar folks. And they don't know who I am. So Alex Jones, who likes to portray himself as, like, a fighter for the working class, for the average Joe and Jane, is like, how am I supposed to get a fair trial? This is an extremely blue-collar jury.
They said that, and when they were asked during the jury impaneling yesterday, Do you believe the media has ever got anything wrong about Alex Jones? They all unanimously said no. So.
Okay, so he made that up. And the fact that he just made up something about the jury is like you're asking to be doomed in this trial. Because the jury's watching that like, you just fucking made that up about us. So how do we know you're not making up fucking everything you say?
It's people do live in all these different bubbles. And there's the bubbles that are awake and the bubbles that are questioning. But then there's the blue city bubbles where people do not know what planet they are on.
Mr. Jones, you don't like that this jury is made up of blue-collar folk. You think that's wrong?
No, I don't think that.
You don't think they know what planet they're on?
Okay. Let's go back. You'll hear him say those exact words. At the beginning, he says they're made up of extremely blue-collar folks, and the implication is I can't get a fair trial because of that.
Yeah, a lot of people are awake to the New World Order. But they're experts in leftist jurisdictions in sending out jury summons and hitting, let's just say this, extremely blue-collar folks.
Extremely blue-collar folks. And he goes on to complain, like, I can't really get a fair trial because of that. Okay, so that... So then the attorney just asks him, do you believe the thing you just said? And he's like, I don't believe that.
Mr. Jones, you don't like that this jury is made up of blue-collar folk. You think that's wrong?
No, I don't think that.
By the way, this attorney, in my opinion, of the multiple attorneys, I think there's like 3, maybe 4, but I think 3 attorneys that are the plaintiff's attorneys. This one, in my opinion, is by far the best. He's by far, you know, the most compelling of the plaintiff's attorneys.
You don't think they know what planet they're on?
I'm saying some people, like you said in your opening statements, that live in bubbles. We all live in bubbles. And if people live in a mainstream media bubble, they might not have ever seen what I really say or done. That's what I was saying.
I understand that you've been unable to attend a good portion of this trial due to a medical issue. Is that correct?
Only a few, some of it, yes.
Sure. And you told the press outside this courthouse that it was because of an untreated hernia?
Well, I'm going to have to get that taken care of and
Your
a bunch
Honor.
of other stuff.
It's absolutely inappropriate for Mr. Bankston to question Mr. Jones about his health issues. He wasn't under subpoena. He didn't have to be here. It's private information. What is right or wrong with his health?
Wasn't private.
Okay. Mr. Jones has the right to talk about his health with anyone he wants. We don't. Other people don't. You can talk to him about attendance. He's not required to be here. It's his choice. But let's not go into his. Let's move on.
I hear you.
Okay. Notice something here. This is actually really important. So, Alex Jones' attorney objects and says, like, what the fuck does medical issues have to do with anything? He's not required to be here. Because I guess apparently in a civil trial you don't have to be there. So Alex is choosing to be there. And so, this is the judge saying that the objection from Alex's attorney is sustained. She's like, okay, yeah, let's not talk about his medical issues. So this judge, even though she's been called demonically possessed by Alex Jones, and there were accusations that she's involved in, like, child sex trafficking or pedophilia on InfoWars just this week. Even given that reckless, dangerous, and honestly potentially defamatory language, she's still doing her job properly and being fair and saying, you know what, that objection is correct, it's sustained. So, I mean, that just puts Alex in perspective as how fucking unhinged he is. This person's being fair, you know, to an insanely high degree, and he's still, like, viciously attacking her on his show all week. It's incredible.
There wasn't a real legal objection. It's kind of a...
Okay. You've been on your show most of last week, pretty much every day last week?
I did an hour here. I taped some as well.
Okay. And you've been screaming and yelling on your show, right?
Yes, just like the media's been doing that.
Okay. Haven't been coughing on your show, have you? All these coughs in court, they don't happen on the full hour of your show. You don't ever cough, right?
So this is actually a rare instance where I think Alex is right. He's been coughing a lot. He says it's not because he has COVID, it's because he has, like, torn larynx or something like that. But they're like, hey, you never really cough on your show, and you don't really cough. You know, you go through long stretches without coughing, then randomly you'll start coughing a lot in certain circumstances. But Alex is going to explain, like, first of all, I have a cough button when I'm on the air. And then the other thing is, I think he only starts coughing a lot when he has to talk a lot because it stresses his voice. So I do think this was a little bit of a misstep from the prosecutors, although I don't think much hinges on it.
I mean, I've got cough drops right here in my pocket. I've got laryngitis and a torn larynx. I mean, it comes and goes. It starts burning, and then it's uncontrollable. And I have actually been coughing a lot on here. If you guys are watching my show, we'll have a cough button I can step on and cough. There's a button I step on, and I've been hacking and coughing. It's 100% real.
You were talking about how you've done thousands of hours of programming, right?
More than that over the years, yes.
Not all of it's been about Sandy Hook, right? You talk about a lot of other stuff, right?
Oh, in our estimation, over 99+% has not been Sandy Hook.
I want to talk about some of that other stuff. Boston bombing. You said it was fake at DHS Go.
Your Honor, we're going to object 403. No relevance to Sandy.
We can get into it some because it's been already introduced. Some.
It's already been introduced, and it's relevant to his general mindset of everything being a fucking conspiracy. So, it's definitely fair to allow this. Now, by the way, he goes Insky. Watch.
Show the pattern here. Talking Boston bombing. Been telling the world. Fake. Not real. A Department of Homeland Security drill. Right?
There was a drill. I think real people got bombed. But we've asked questions on both sides here.
Yeah, you said the exact opposite.
We've asked questions on both sides.
You've in fact said that some of those people who were claimed to be injured were crisis actors in other tragedies. Just like in Sandy Hook, you said.
And we reported on other people saying that.
In fact, you've said about some of the people at Sandy Hook. During your coverage of Sandy Hook, you have said they were actually some of the people pretending to be injured in the Boston bombing. You said that.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Shooting of Representative Gabrielle Gifford. Do you remember when that happened in Arizona?
Yes.
Okay, and you said that was a government mind control operation, right?
I said the guy fit the bill.
God damn, son.
Did you say he fit the bill, or did you tell your audience explicitly that was a government mind control operation?
I
What did you do?
I didn't know you were bringing this up. That was a long time ago.
What about the Sutherland Springs church shooting just down the road from here? That wasn't that long ago. You said that was fake, an Antifa false flag staged operation, right?
I believe we said that happened.
By the way, he's not even close to done. He goes through like 5 more conspiracies in this clip, but they cut it off here. Anyway, now let's get to the main event, because this is the one everybody's talking about. So again, Law and Crime YouTube channel. Lawyer asks Alex Jones if he knows what perjury is after surprise text message reveal. Okay, here we go.
I remember what you're talking about.
Sure.
You're about to find out how Alex Jones is the wet dream of a good attorney. Because you can catch him in so many contradictions and lies that you just bust up his credibility instantly.
One of the things you talked about yesterday is you complied with discovery, right? You said that on the witness stand?
That's one of the things I talked about.
Okay. One of the
Now, by the way, the judge had instructed Alex, you cannot say that to the jury, that you complied with discovery, because he was found guilty by default in the defamation trial, particularly because he didn't comply with discovery, which just means he didn't give the documents to the court that he was legally required to give to the court. So he's already guilty of defamation. Now the only question is how much in damages is he going to pay out in this civil suit. Now, by the way, just so everybody understands, a civil suit is not the same as a criminal trial. So, in other words, the standard of evidence is different. So it's not as high as beyond a reasonable doubt. The way it works in a civil trial is the preponderance of the evidence, which basically means that if it's like more than a 50% chance that, you're going to have to pay out.
things that you were ordered to do in this lawsuit. You were ordered to turn over any text messages mentioning Sandy Hook, right?
Yes.
And you didn't have any, right?
Not that we could find.
And you in fact told me in your testimony, sworn testimony before coming to this courtroom, you searched, right?
I did.
Okay. Do you remember, were you here for Mr. Schroeder's testimony?
Yes.
Okay. You remember when Owen said, the company has learned from its mistakes about Sandy Hook? You remember that?
I did hear him say that.
You agree with that?
Yeah, we've certainly learned from our mistakes, got a lot better.
Okay. Mr. Jones, I'd like to show you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 130. You've got it upside down. That's text messages between you and Paul Watson, isn't it?
Yes.
And they mention Sandy Hook, don't they?
Yes.
Plaintiffs move 130 into evidence?
Any objection?
Okay, so just to set this up a little bit for you, here's what's happening. Alex testified in a deposition under oath. I don't even really use email. I don't really text that much. And we looked and we didn't find any text messages regarding Sandy Hook. That's what he said in a deposition under oath. Now watch this. That dude is panicking right now. This guy's fucking panicking. This is Alex's attorney. He's like, oh, what happened here? I didn't know they had this. Wait for it.
What's that? Show you where what. Let's zoom in on the little article up in the corner, please. I'm going to walk over to this to you so we can kind of point out. I know it's a little hard to read. You might be able to read it a little better on your screen. But this is a zoom of Mr. Watson has sent you a screenshot from Infowars.com, correct?
It appears to be.
Yeah, and it has an article here, right?
Yeah.
And it says, staged. Video shows hospital using dummies in ER for coronavirus footage. Is that what it says?
I believe so.
Let's go to the first message from Mr. Watson. Read along with me, Mr. Jones. He says, this is a video.
Sorry, Steve, what's that?
No problem. Take your time.
Oh,
You ready?
yeah, this, you may not think it's a problem, but it's a real one.
Sure.
Just give me a second. All right, go ahead.
Mr. Watson says, this is a video of a medical student training to intubate. Makes us look ridiculous, suggesting this means COVID is fake. Sandy Hook all over again. I read that correctly?
Yes.
Go to the next message. What'd you tell Mr. Watson?
I get it.
Mr. Jones, it's true that this article is right now live on Infowars.com. I pulled up, right?
I've never seen this text message. I guess you guys got Paul's. My phone didn't save them. So that's fine.
Your phone didn't save the second.
I told you guys I gave it to the lawyers and said they drained the phone, they didn't find that stuff. I don't know how my phone's...
You gave it to the lawyers. They were supposed to find it. So that's what testimony is?
No, I searched it as well. I mean, so you guys have all this stuff and you say we didn't give anything. It's
Mr.
ridiculous.
Jones, you know how an iPhone works, right? You've had iPhone text messaging for several years now.
Yeah.
What does it mean if the messages are in blue? Whose messages are those? Whose phone is this taken from?
I don't know whose phone's taken from. I mean, I turned the phone over and said, take the stuff off.
Can I have you look in the very bottom below the very bottom left corner? Is that your phone number?
Yes. So you did get my text messages. And it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then...
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
No, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over.
Just
And
answer
you
the
said,
question.
you said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
And I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Well, of course, I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones, that's not why I got it.
My lawyer sent it to you, but I'm hiding it. Okay.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Jones, that's...
please just answer questions. There's no question. Mr. Bankston also only asks questions.
Sure. Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said it under oath.
I mean, I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave, in my testimony, the phone to the lawyers before, whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones, one more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified under oath previously that you personally searched your phone for the phrase Sandy Hook, and there were no messages. You said that under oath.
Yes.
And you lied when you said it.
No, I did not lie.
Emails. You testified yesterday. You don't have.
Oh my god, man. This is like the most clear-cut case of perjury I've ever seen in my life. Mr. Jones, you testified under oath that you searched for any messages involving Sandy Hook, and you said you found none. Well, your idiot lawyer accidentally sent me your entire history with your text messages, and it turns out there are messages involving Sandy Hook. God damn, son, he's getting his cheeks clapped.
But you got rid of your email 10 years ago.
InfoWars email.
Oh, so not simple. You do use email, though, don't you?
Not. It's like household stuff and things like that.
So it's-
I don't personally send emails.
Sure.
My assistant does, and it's for like, you know, broken sprinklers or whatever.
Okay. So you don't have emails about Sandy Hook. You don't have emails about this case.
You got hundreds of thousands of our emails.
None from you. And I didn't get hundreds of thousands of emails. Most of those, in fact, you would agree with me, nearly every email you've produced to me outside of maybe 100 are emails of Wolfgang Halbig and Jim Fetzer. Because they sent you thousands of emails, right?
I mean, I quit opening.
Wolfgang Halbig, for those of you who don't know, was this super obscure blogger with like no following who really went all in on the Sandy Hook conspiracy, but it turns out he's like deeply mentally ill, and Alex was warned by a bunch of his employees like, hey man, this guy's off, don't have him on the show. And Alex kept having him on the show to stir up the Sandy Hook conspiracies.
Email and using it before Sandy Hook.
Okay. So, in other words, if somebody was to tell me, oh, I have emails from Mr. Jones that he wrote about this case in the past couple of years, that person would be lying? You're telling the truth?
Somebody else has got my InfoWars email because I haven't been using it all.
That's not qualified, Mr. Jones. You know in this case you were asked to produce your emails, any emails you had about Sandy Hook. You know you were asked to do that, right?
Yeah.
And you said you didn't have it.
I told my IT people, go, you've got all that stuff.
No, Mr. Jones, I'm saying in deposition, under oath, sworn to God, you said you don't have any emails.
Part of what dooms Alex Jones is he cannot give a straight answer. He just can't do it. I watched Owen Schroyer, that's Alex Jones' like mini-me and protege. Owen Schroyer did a deposition, and Owen Schroyer testified in this case, and he was very like direct with his answers, and that's going to go over better. Alex Jones is so evasive while pretending like he's a straight shooter, and I think that sits poorly with the jury.
Sandy Hook, because you don't use email, right?
I mean, I think I have. I mean, I haven't been using InfoWars email, and it's got to be a decade or longer in my memory.
I don't.
We're with Infowars.com, you know.
No, Mr. Jones. No. It's not what I'm asking. You notice when Mr. Watson emailed you, right? He didn't have an InfoWars email address, does he? He has like Paul Watson at sky.com. It's a UK email address. Did you know
Yes.
that? Right. We asked for all emails. And you told us you don't use email and there are no emails for Sandy Hook. That's what you said under oath, isn't it?
There might be. I'm sure there might be like privileged emails where like lawyers requesting documents or stuff about the case.
Mr. Jones,
Yeah.
first, objection on this one.
Sustained.
Did you testify under oath that you do not use email and that there are no responsive emails relating to this case? Did you testify to that?
Yes, I personally do not get on the internet and sit there and use email. I never send emails myself because I don't like it. I can't stand it. There's just too many of them. That's a fact that I don't use email. I call people on the telephone.
Okay.
By the way, this is why, I mean, it's a good example of why lawyers usually advise not to take the stand if it's your case. I mean, he's like a particularly egregious example, but this is brutal.
Your Honor, excuse me, Mr. Jones. Let me show you this document. Is that your email address?
Yes.
Did you write an email? Is that an email, Mr. Jones?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones. So
I'm not reading it. It's just from. What's this have to do with Sandy Hook?
I'm not asking you a question other than that's an email you sent. Let's start there. Can you do that? Can you say that's an email you sent?
I must have dictated that to my assistant.
Okay, so there are, you would agree with me, there are emails, hang on a little thing, I'm done with that. There are emails that you've sent to your lawyers, your staff, and others concerning your business operations that we requested for, Sandy Hook, other topics that have been requested in this lawsuit, like Zero Hedge. You'd agree those emails, they exist. You agree to that or not?
I've dictated emails to people, and
Man, he just, like, he's so used to just lying pathologically that now when he's, like, under oath and he's required by law to give direct answers, this is fucking crazy. So, basically, what the plaintiff's attorneys are doing here is very simple. It's just busting up his credibility to the point where you know, well, you can't trust a fucking word this guy says. Because throughout the course of this trial, he's, like, apologized to the families and stuff, and acted like, no, we've totally changed. But he'll always talk out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, some of the videos that were given as evidence in this trial by Alex's attorney show Alex, on the one hand, in the same video saying, Sandy Hook is real, those kids died, while then also in the next sentence questioning the basic facts about Sandy Hook. Things that are, verifiably false, like, the school was shut down, and the kids were going in and out of the school, and, whatever. All these things that they think are anomalies, but actually are just totally misinterpreted or misstated facts that happened in the fog of the immediate aftermath. So he's just totally busting up his credibility. That's what he's doing here, and he's doing it very, very effectively.
You guys have gone and gotten other people to give you their emails. But that is my personal email that I use for personal stuff. It has nothing to do with Sandy Hook, unless lawyers have sent me emails there that my assistant prints off for me.
Wow. All right, look, I highly recommend, guys, go to the Law and Crime YouTube channel and watch as much of this case as you can. It's been fascinating. It's either today or sometime within the next week, we're probably going to get the results of the case. So again, just to break it down for you real quick, this is not a criminal trial. So that doesn't mean, Alex Jones is not facing jail time. This is a civil case. And again, in a civil case, it's about the monetary damage that he's going to have to pay out. Now, again, he's already been found guilty of defamation. Now the question is, what is the dollar amount he's going to pay out? Alex Jones and his attorney say, only make us pay $1 to each victim. I'm not even joking about that. Although he indicated that he might change that. It's like, okay, we'll pay for your psychiatrist costs or whatever. And the plaintiff's attorneys are saying $150 million. So now it's with the jury now, and they're going to deliberate, and then they're going to come back with some figure between $1 and $150 million. And my guess is it's going to be something over $50 million. I mean, maybe it'll be as high as $150 million, but I'm guessing it's something over $50 million. This did not go well for Alex. This did not go well. Because all it did is really highlight the fact that he's a pathological liar. And then again, the other question is, well, now he very clearly perjured himself. So what happens on that front? Is there going to be a separate case where he's brought up on perjury charges, where it's like the most easy slam dunk case of all time? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But good googly moogly. He was grilled to smithereens and he got those cheeks clapped.